Call the meeting to back into session. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody here this evening and those watching on cable, and we have some audience this evening. Must be something special on the agenda.
What don't we know?
The first item on the agenda is to sign the special town meeting warrant for March 19, 2012. High school/middle school project. Mr. Prisco.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Get rid of this mint. Okay.
Well said.
I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, I move to sign the March 19, 2012 special town meeting warrant to consider the following Article 1. To see if the town will vote to appropriate, borrow, or transfer from available funds a sum of money to be expended under the direction of the Secondary School Building Committee for the addition and renovation of the middle school and construction of a new high school to create a new integrated middle high school located at Park Street in Sherman Road, which school facility shall have anticipated useful life as an educational facility for the instructions of school children of at least 50 years, and for which the town will be eligible for a school construction grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA. The town acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need. As determined by the MSBA, in any project cost the town incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be sole responsibility of the town. Any grant that the town may receive from the MSBA for the project shall not exceed the lesser of 1, 51.49% of eligible approved project costs as determined by the MSBA, or 2, the total maximum grant amount as determined by the MSBA. Provide further that any appropriation hereunder shall be subject to contingent upon an affirmative vote of the town to exempt the amounts required for the payment of principal and interest on any borrowing authorized hereunder for limitations on total taxes imposed by Chapter 59, Section 21C of the General Law, Proposition 2.5, and provide further that the amount of borrowing unauthorized pursuant to this vote shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the project funding agreement that may be executed between the town and MSBA, or what it will do in relation thereto.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, second by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion. I have a question, Greg. I thought the motion needed to include the total value of the project.
No. This is the template that MSBA has provided the town with.
No, there has to be an amount.
No, sir. The article states a sum of money. If you refer to the first paragraph that Mr. Prisco read, you'll see in the second line that it states that the town is appropriating a sum of money. And that's the template language that was provided to the town for the purposes of this article, and reviewed and approved by MSBA.
That does not sound right.
That's my understanding.
Mine too.
I think
So we're going to town meeting, and we're going to vote on a project without a total.
Oh, no, sir.
amount.
The motion will incorporate the correct amount.
Motion,
Right.
okay, all right, fine. So in other words, in the language, we're not including,
Correct. The
we
motion.
could have written it in there.
But,
Correct.
but then you would be limiting yourself should things change between
Change.
now and
Okay,
then.
fine.
But
all
the
right,
motion
okay.
will specify the
Okay,
precise
fine.
dollar
That
amount.
clarifies.
It wouldn't go over.
That's the
Would.
intent then, is to.
Yeah, that's why the percentage eligibility is important as part of
Correct.
the language, so.
Okay, further discussion.
I want to say I'm glad we're at this point. Personally, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for the town to take advantage of tax dollars, state tax dollars coming back to the community for two schools that we desperately need to be rehabbed and one brand-new high school. So personally, I'm in so much favor of signing this special town meeting warrant article this evening in the hopes that this project will pass special town meeting and a special election.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
We're going to be signing 6 copies of
And
this,
John is here.
so if you don't mind, can we just take a minute to sign this?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
By free act indeed.
While he's doing that, Mr. Chair, I noticed that you don't have an item for public comment. And I think there's somebody here that might want to say something during public comment.
It's on there, number
Yeah.
9.
Public hearing.
No, it's down there,
Number 9.
after legal
Number
bills.
9, woo, okay.
Yeah, I thought I saw it.
Didn't think of looking down
Got a
that.
large
Haven't been
agenda this
looking.
evening.
And you got the whole thing in front of you.
I do, I'm going down, I'm used to it being in the front.
Is that?
Right. We got one more.
At risk. Hey, John, how you doing? It's a pleasure.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is to vote the language for the ballot question. Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Selectmen place the following question on the March 24th, 2012 special election ballot. Question 1, high school/middle school project. Shall the town of North Reading be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called, the amounts required to pay for the bond issued in order to construct an addition and renovate the middle school and construct a new high school to create a new integrated middle-high school located at Park Street and Sherman Road.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Any discussion?
Just,
Is that added in, Park Street, Sherman Road? I mean, I didn't see it on.
it's on the motion. You don't want a question mark at the end, though, do you?
No,
Yes.
that's what it is. Yeah, that's a question.
Yes.
It is a question.
Yeah, it is a question.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, just a quick
Mr.
question.
Yule.
I'm looking here at number 3 ballot question, and I noticed he finished with gave the address to Sherman Road. I don't have that on mine.
No, it was up, I think you,
That's what revised.
Last minute.
So that's
revision.
different.
last minute revision.
Okay.
Correct.
There was some discussion as to how to identify the location.
Right, okay.
On the motion, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? One more step ahead in the long process. The most important one's coming on March 19th, special town meeting. I invite everybody to be there. I would urge everybody to be there. And special election on Saturday. This is not the usual election day on March 24th. Single item on the ballot for the override for funding the high school and middle school project.
I just want to say one more thing. I kind of put Sean on the spot, if you don't mind. But if there are people still out there that have questions, where do they go now? What's the process now that we're this far?
There's a couple of locations they can go. They can come to Secondary School Building Committee. They can go to our website. And the website not only has a website and an email address you can find there to email directly to the website, but you can click on the names of the members that have email addresses you can email members directly to. Also, you can go to the advocacy group too, who has a wonderful website, Invest in North Reading. And Jeff Simons, who's present here this evening, is leading that advocacy group. So there's a multitude of places that anyone can go looking for information. Secondary School Building Committee is having a meeting. It's probably not the best night for most people on Valentine's Day, but we are having our next meeting on Tuesday, February 14th at 6:30. That'll be held at the Middle School Modular Cafeteria. High school, thank you, Mr. Kelleher. High School Modular Cafeteria at 6:30 on next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for putting me on the spot. I appreciate that.
Okay, we have
I do that pretty well.
7:10. We have a joint appointment with the CPC for the Economic Development Subcommittee. Want to pull your chairs up here, or you want to stay back there? Your
Probably
choice.
want to stay there.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's it.
That's it, okay.
Warren will be here.
Warren will not be?
No, he's on vacation.
Okay.
Neil was supposed to.
Mr. Delaney.
You want me to read them?
Yes.
I'll read the motion if you don't want.
All right, we'll let Michael read it.
We don't want Sean to work too hard. Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for appointment to the Economic Development Subcommittee for a term to expire on December 31st, 2014. There are 5 openings. We only have 1 nomination this evening. Richard Woolner, 57 Lakeside Boulevard.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion,
Well,
comment?
just for
Mr. Delaney.
discussion purposes, as I had stated at our last meeting, when this was an agenda item that we postponed until this evening, back probably 3.5 months ago, 3 potential candidates were interviewed. Richard Woolner, Shep Spear, and Douglas Mercurio. They were interviewed with Heidi Griffin, a couple of members of CPC, myself, and Mr. Messeri. And based upon those interviews that were conducted, Richard Woolner was the candidate that it was a consensus that he should be the person who is appointed to this committee based upon his background, his knowledge, a resident in the community for a number of years. We felt as though that the other 2 candidates, although they were suitable candidates for this committee, we thought their service could be utilized better elsewhere. Mr. Spear, I think, has a lot of background and interest in the area of wastewater, and I believe Ms. Griffin had contacted him and expressed that to him and thought that may be more suitable for his background. So therefore, we are recommending that this evening that Richard Woolner be appointed to the Economic Development Committee. At this point, we do have a most recent applicant that submitted his citizen activity report. At least I received it probably about 10 days ago. We will be setting up an interview of that gentleman as well. So hopefully we'll be coming back looking for another joint appointment. If Mr. Woolner gets appointed this evening, we'll have 4 openings still remaining on the Economic Development Committee.
Okay.